Today we're going to look at these solving equations, these rational equations. We're solving, that means we are going to find out x values that would make a statement true. Okay. Last week it was all about simplifying expressions, but this week we are going to find out some x values. So look at number one. Okay, now let's go ahead and start with the restrictions. What are the restrictions? X cannot be what? X cannot be -1. Okay. Hope you still remember why we have restrictions, because of the possibility of having a 0 in the denominator. We don't want that, because if a 0 is in the denominator, the whole fraction becomes undefined. So we don't want that. And that's why we think about, how can we prevent that from happening? So x cannot equal to -1, because if x is equal to -1, that denominator becomes 0. And then we look at the second fraction right here. What can't x be? Now this one is relatively more complicated than this one, right? So what you can do, you can do this. Okay, we simply ask the same question. What can't x be? Well, 4x plus 5 cannot be 0. So what you do is just like how you do equations, you get x by itself. You move the 5 over, you will divide by the 4. So therefore you have x cannot equal to -5/4. So that's a very simple way to help you answer the question of what x cannot be. Okay. Good. All right. So now we got the restrictions out of the way. Then let's go ahead and focus on this whole thing. Now, let me go ahead and rewrite this, because I'm going to need some more room. Now, there's a simple idea here. If you can capture this simple idea, this topic, this page, it's going to be super easy. Okay? Do you hate fractions? Honestly, do you hate fractions? Raise your hand if you hate fractions. Okay? But I want to share something with you. I just realized this. While a lot of us hate fractions, something is innocent. In this fraction, something is innocent that should not be hated. The numerator is innocent. Okay? The numerator is like, hey, I'm just numerator. The reason why I become a fraction is because of the existence of the denominator. So when you say you hate fractions, you don't really hate fractions, you hate the denominators. So if the denominators are gone, then you don't have fractions. So what we're trying to do today is basically doing one simple task. How to get rid of the denominators. How to get rid of them. So what can we do to get rid of these denominators here? Now, how would you get rid of x plus 1? I think you have only one choice, which is to multiply on both sides, okay? So that the x plus 1 could be canceled out on the left. And then we ask the same question, how can you eliminate the 4x plus 5 on the right-hand side? You can. Multiply 4x plus 5 on both sides. So once you do that, you can see how the x plus 1 would get canceled out on the left. You can see how the 4x plus 5 would get canceled out on the right, but just make sure that you are doing the same multiplication on both sides. Okay, you multiply by x plus 1, On both sides, you multiply by 4x plus 5 on both sides. So on the left, what you're left with is this. On the right, what you're left with is this. And can you see how the denominators are now gone? Okay, so that's why I said numerators are innocent. Okay, the only thing that you should hate is the existence of the denominator. So make sure you target your enemy, the denominator, and then you go ahead and, do the appropriate steps to eradicate it. So then we just have something very simple to take care. Okay, simple algebra 1 level question. How do you find x from this point? You just combine like terms. So you find out x is equal to -2. And this is our solution that will make the original statement true. Okay, so if you put in the -2 back in the first fraction there, you would get 3 over -3, 3 over -1, which is -3. And if you put the -2 into the second fraction, you get 9 over -6, no, 9 over -3, which is again -3. So that's how you get a true statement. All right, so this is the theme for today. Okay, how do we get rid of the denominators? Now, also what I want to highlight here is this. The thing that we multiply on both sides, that's actually the common denominator of the fractions. Okay, that's the common denominator of the fractions. Sorry, the fractions. Common denominator of the fractions. Okay. Good. So we're going to ask this question again and again. What would be the common denominator that you will be multiplying on both sides? So if you're good with this, let's move on to number 2.